This podcast is brought to you by the Middlebaron restaurant Clara. Frank, Gillian and staff would like to thank you for the continued support. Food served 12 to 8 weekdays and 12 to 6 on Sundays. We look forward to seeing you all back at the Middlebaron restaurant very soon.
Broadcasting live from the little town of Clara, County Offaly, it's What's the Story with Lloyd Bracken. Get in touch today through all our social channels and have your say. Oh, and thanks for listening. Now it's over to you, Lloyd. What's the story?
Hi everyone, very welcome back. This is episode 10 of What's the Story with myself, Lloyd Bracken. Hope you're all in good form and had a good week. Thanks very much for all the comments on the Phyllis Price podcast. She was a great character and great to have her here in the studio. Don't forget you can check out all the older podcasts on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and also on YouTube as well. We don't have any guests here in studio this week, but we do have 6 guests joining us from the USA, and it's great. I'm going to have a chat with them all, asking them how they're getting on out there, why they moved, and maybe would they move back in time. We're going to head on over straight away to New York City, to Barry Kelly. Let's see if we can get Barry on the line. Barry Kelly, what's the story?
Well, Lloyd, how's it going?
Very well, Barry. Tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all, and where in Clara that you grew up.
Well, my name is Barry Kelly. I grew up in Riverview in Clara, good old Clara. Went to the boys' school, Art School Caron. I left Art School at Caron early because I didn't really like school and started working in O'Reilly's bakery. I think it was about 15 or 16, making £15 a week as a baker, confectioner's apprentice. And O'Reilly's, yeah.
What was that like, Barry? It was good old crack. I'd say up early in the morning for that one.
Not at the beginning, but towards the end, yeah. Actually, I loved it, Lloyd, and it's an awful pity that it finished up in Clara, because it was another great store to have in the town, you know, and of course everything was baked fresh. Because I remember years ago going with my old by we'd be up going by around 6 o'clock in the morning, and even when I was a kid, and the smell of the bakery, and then, you know, you're working in there. I got to work there then, and it was great old cracks. Sure, Kenna Cushion and Michael Gavin and poor old Mr. O'Reilly or the Merson and Chris O'Reilly, and sure, Jesus, the crack was mate, and Tracy Flanagan and Bridget Lynham worked there as well, and Yvonne Duffy, and sure, we had great old characters. At the moment now, I'm living in East Elmhurst in New York. I moved here in August the 16th, 1996. So I'm 24 years in America now. Yeah. Came on a Friday, the 16th, and started working on Monday, and should be working since, thank God.
Did you ever envisage, Barry, you'd be there that long when you left Clara?
No, like, after a couple of years, I thought I'd be home, you know. I kind of swore to myself I'd never be half my life in America, and sure, I'm gone by that now.
Was it a tough decision at the time, Barry, to go, or...?
I was in Canada in 94. My aunt and uncle Martin and Kathy Malay, Lord of Mercy, Uncle Martin, they sent me home the ticket after John McCormick, Lord of Mercy, and John passed away. So I went a month after he passed, 2 months after he passed away. So I left the bakery, and I loved Canada. I absolutely loved it, because, you know, you're from a small town, and I mean, the big thing for us was Dublin or Galway years ago growing up. But Canada I loved, and got to see a lot of Canada. And when I came home then, I started Carol Meats, and I was itching to go all, you know, for a while. And
kind of glad you're not on Carol Meats now, Barry, with all that's going on.
Well, Jesus, yeah. Well, listen, thank God it's kind of settled in New York, because where we live, we were at the epicenter. Well, literally 3/10 of a mile away from Elmhurst. And I mean, going back then, I mean, how much we're after coming along, and hopefully it'll stay that way, and it won't start another round and sweep across country from, you know, east coast to west coast. But
yeah, hopefully. I was going to ask you about that actually, and how it was handled there, and it's obviously calming down where you are now.
What I couldn't get over was I'd go to the Bronx to pick up the work van, and I couldn't get over nobody wearing masks, whereas we were in Elmhurst, in East Elmhurst, where we live. Everyone was wearing masks, you know, and gloves. And I mean, we kept the distance. You know, I couldn't get over going to Riverdale in the Bronx and the supermarket, no lines, no nothing, ample supplies of stuff. I mean, over there, you're queuing for a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour and a half on some days, like, because there was very little in the supermarkets. Yeah. I mean, it was amazing how everything was gone out of the shelves. I mean, meat and cheese and butter and milk. You couldn't get toilet paper, you couldn't get tissues, you couldn't get hand sanitizer, you couldn't get the Bounty rolls, nothing. went through so many pairs of socks whenever that would toilet paper.
Barry, you mentioned picking up the work van there. What's your working life like there?
I do hardwood floors. I started 2 days after I came out, or 3 days back in August '96. I absolutely love it. It's the same with the bakery. It's always the end result. It's the same with the floors,
Yeah.
Like I was racing today to get home early, and with the traffic and everything. But I love it. Like, I mean, I've been blessed to, I've worked for two good companies, two brothers from Mayo, Ballina,
Brilliant.
the Rutledges, and then I'm working with a guy from Kildare now at the moment. So I've been with him for
the Irish community out there, Barry, even when you went out there first, are they still as helpful as they were?
They are, but like, it's amazing how much all the Irish bars. I used to live on Broadway when I Jerry Dunn from the Green, Lord of Mercy and Jimmy and Maureen's son. I hung in with him.
Yeah.
When they came out, because Maureen had said it to me in Siobhan, and where he worked and where I lived was on Broadway in Yonkers and in the Bronx, because we're very close to the Bronx-Yonkers border. There was a lot of Irish bars along there, Sam Maguire's, you got the South Bend, but all these bars now, they're all closed, or they're Spanish bars. It's amazing how all the Irish moved out and another group of immigrants moved in. But I mean, you still have the only thing you can't get over here, I always say, the only thing you can't get is you can't get eggs and you can't get milk. You can get cheese, you can get cereal, everything under the sun.
Wouldn't be great for a baker, Barry, would it?
You'd pay an awful lot more.
O'Reilly's wouldn't be happy.
But listen to me, only for the bakery, that's what got me my green card.
Right.
Because it was a skilled profession. Exactly. Sorry. The lady was helping me with when I was going for the green card. She said to me, American people wouldn't know how to make Irish brown bread and apple tarts.
Yeah.
And I have to say, when I went for the green card, I was grilled on it. They asked me, and so thank God. Oh yeah. I was fortunate enough to get it in '97.
Fantastic.
And then get the citizenship in October.
A nice bit of comfort when you get that, and your very much heart is in Clara.
There's no place like home, no matter where you are in the world. Getting there is fantastic. Of course, when you're leaving then saying goodbye to everybody, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen to you or to any of your family. So, I mean, the goodbyes when you're heading back overseas, it's always the hardest. But I mean, I love getting home. My father picks me up at the airport. Ben Kennedy usually comes with him, my nephew. And I always get him to drive through the town because I want to see somebody. And he'd be like, your mother has the breakfast ready for you. But I said, Dad, please just drive through the town. So he'd drive up through the town and then turn down Orchard Road just to see. I was so excited to see the town.
I know, yeah.
But again, it's home is home. It's always where the heart is.
Is there still the weekly call home, Barry?
It's amazing. Years ago, you'd write home. You'd write to people. Pa Maher and Paddy Fleming, I'd always write to. And then you'd have to buy a call card.
Right.
And a $5 call card would get you about 6 or 7 hours. But you'd forget to buy one. Then sometimes you want to call. Because Sundays are always a hard day. I've always noticed. And I've heard a lot of people say that. A lot of people miss home on a Sunday. But nowadays, thank God, with Viber and with WhatsApp, and it's great to see everybody. Whereas years ago, call and there'd be nobody there, and nowadays, it's a matter of seconds you can get a reply back from home instead of years ago.
Barry, you mentioned living on Broadway. That would have been very comfortable for a guy like you who was big into musicals and Clara tops of the town.
No. It's not the lights on Broadway. It's not like that, sonny boy. No, Broadway up in Yonkers. Jesus, no. No. It was actually on the Yonkers and Bronx border, and Jerry Dunn. I only lived like about 5 minutes from where Jerry worked. That was grand. Sure, all the Irish boys would go there. Yeah. To the
Any
bar,
opportunities out there to tread the boards, Barry? No, apart from the hardwood floors now.
Oh, nothing at all. No. I miss those days though, but sure, look.
Yeah, tops of the town, Barry. 96 was some crack, wasn't it?
Oh, it was savage, like. I still have the videotapes recorded from that final when we were all down there, and the night before we were all in our apartment. Brian and Leslie, and I think was it Leslie, myself, Brian, and Pam. I think there was 3 or 4 of us that shared a room.
He were the crack.
Oh Lord, sure was savage, and then trying to do the deal with James Ennis to go to the cash and carry to get us all the cans, and then the cans, trying to sneak them onto the bus because Tony would be like the security man, keeping an eye on us all what goes in, and sure then the cans would be boiling because it takes about 5 hours to go on the bus back then to Cork, and we'd be stopping, and sure they hated the drink, Lord Christ, trying to cool it down then in the bathtub with water first, and then thrown into an old little fridge, but. Sure, like they were savage days, but I have to say I have some fantastic footage on videos with us messing going down in the buses and all that stuff, and I still swear to this day I should get on DVDs or something just to...
You should. Barry, Clara in Ireland, I suppose, a very different place now since you left. Did you ever think of moving back?
It's changed, but it's amazing, like going back into Kilbeggan Road, making that left at the G pitch there in Kilbeggan and heading in the road and going back in time, like remembering, it's you're thinking of years ago, but, life changes, everything moves on, and I'd love to go home, but, I have a woman now, and she even said it, like, if we could somewhere down along the line stay between both countries, because she's not from the States, she's from another country, but tip back and forth if we could do it and afford it. But sure, look, thank God we're alive, we're all alive, and that, and I have to say, like, that we're blessed. I listened to your dad there the other day and the podcast, and I heard your man. We're lucky, like, that to touch wood that we still have both our parents, and long may it last. But like, home is home, and it's always nice to get home. But it's after a few weeks getting back, you kind of settle back into your routine over here. But I'd love to go home someday. It's nice to see your man, Dan, and your brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews, nearly every day if you could, or every...
Rafina Rex would be delighted. She'll have to start tops of the town again.
Jesus Christ.
I see you're a huge fan of Trump.
Oh.
There's a bit of silence there, Barry. What do you make of the Donald?
I say...
or what can you say?
People...
Hopefully you won't be listening.
Well, you never know. You never know with Secret Service, whatever goes along with and mentioning the name. You just don't know. But I mean, you see what I post on Facebook. I mean, it's not too bad. But I mean, look, just get out and vote. That's what I'm going to say.
Barry, last couple of questions. Like, when you think of Clara and home, what comes to your mind apart from your family? What comes to your mind?
Just everything, like a Real Review with everyone playing football and rounders years ago, and just that little green patch in front of the houses. And so then we were all going down and playing soccer, playing Kilcourse again, Real Review, and Marion Square again, the green. And I have to say one thing about Clara, like, we were blessed the way we had a swimming pool in our town. I mean, £32 years ago was a lot of money for a family ticket. I mean, we had ours used up in a week, but you get a great length out of it.
I think everybody said family ticket at one stage, didn't it?
Family ticket, and just walked in. I mean, we're lucky. We had the school by the soccer in the green there years ago. The school by soccer.
That's right, Frank Ferry.
I mean, Frank Ferry, yeah. I mean, we had everything. We had the pool. League. We had the pond there, the Greenfield League, exactly. We had the pond to go swimming. We all hung around. We all went on walks together and cycled everywhere and anywhere, and it was simpler days back then, growing up in Clara I have to say it was excellent. I mean, we had everything, but we had not that kind of way. I'll never forget years ago going down to Kenny's, and now that Kenny's is closed, but going down and we all trying to make 99 pence to buy one of those plastic balls that when you kicked it, and if it was anywhere windy, you spent more time running after the ball than you played with it. It was great growing up in Clara, I have to say, and great neighbours, and it's a great town too. I always get a bit weird going into the bar. I'd always say to Enda and Kennedy and my sister and my brother, I'd say, go on in there ahead of me, and because you just don't know. But when you go into they're like, Jason, very welcome, go on, and all this, But like I said, I have to see the town when I come home. That's why I always say to my father, will you go up? And he says, Jason, your mother will have the breakfast. Because I always get an Irish breakfast. Well, we call them an Irish breakfast over here. Right. But my mad does a savage breakfast.
Lovely.
And everyone comes up.
You'll have to give me a shout the next time you're home. I'll meet you up there.
Or that'll be it. She'll be like, that's it, you're not getting on else now. You're going to wife out.
Barry, would you like to say hello to anybody at home that might be listening?
Jason, that sounds like the Late Late Show years ago. People in the audience, hello to Mammy, hello to Daddy and my sisters.
Well, here's your late moment.
Well, hello to everybody in Clara. I have to say congratulations to Lyde. They're doing a fantastic job. This is nice for people away from home because, I mean, I'm sure we all do miss it. Hello to my mother and father, Liam and Patsy Kelly, to Brian, Mairead, Jane and Anna, Denise and Luke and Ben. Happy 50th birthday, Enda Kennedy, and their new dog Benji, and sure, anyone that knows me. Thanks very much for taking the time to chat with me this evening and rushing home from work. No problem, Lyde. No bother, Hurst. It was great chatting to you, and thanks for doing this and for all over here. And I just want to say one thing: burn oil, burn rubber, burn diesel, it's cheaper. Well, on that note, Barry Kelly, thanks a million. Appreciate it. No bother, Lyde. God bless you. Thanks very much.
I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news. Go ahead.
I was 18 years old when I went down to Dublin with a fistful of money and a cartload of dreams.
Barry Kelly from Real Review wasn't giving too much away about Donald Trump. We head on over now to Chicago and we chat to Sinead Dunn-Newman, and we believe she might have a couple of little people there with her as well. Sinead Dunn-Newman, what's the story?
Well, Lloyd, how are you?
Very good. You're in Chicago, Sinead. What part?
We live in Lake Bluff. We're about 40 minutes outside of the city. I'm about a mile from Lake Michigan.
Okay, so is it really the cold, windy city, as they say?
Oh, it is, and this year really was. We had the polar vortex
Right.
for about, I'd say, 4 days. So that was now pretty tough, I have to say. We had to close even the door, not even the key latches on the doors. We had to tape up at one stage. Jeez. So it was pretty bad. Yeah, we had the curtains on the windows, and we had to put some blinds on it and stop the cold actually physically coming in.
It was that bad?
It was, no, I have to say it was. And Peter trained the dog not to do any business in the yard. So we had to walk him every time he had to go do something.
Sorriest thing Peter ever did.
Oh yeah, it was very funny now, I have to say. But we got through it. So that was one of the bad years. But snow-wise this year we done okay.
Right.
It wasn't too bad at all.
Like, Sinead, you're different to most people emigrating, I suppose, in that you were settled in Ireland, yourself, Peter, Katie, May and Luke, and the house and all that. So, like, up roots and headed to the States. Why was that?
Peter works with Abbott with ADD, and we kind of knew it would be in the cards for the next level for him. So it was kind of either go to the States or go to Germany.
Right.
So Germany wasn't really an option now, I have to say. So it was like, right, we'll take the States.
Yeah.
So Chicago tends to be kind of like the mothership for a lot of the Abbott. So that's why we came out here. Now we came out on a 3-year contract 11 years ago.
Right. So, geez, that was a very temporary, permanent contract, wasn't it?
It was, yeah, 3 years. Now, in fairness, I was warned it might be 4, it might be 5. If we really want to go home, we'll find a way home type thing.
Yeah.
So, and you coming out, it wasn't set on 3.
Yeah. And did you find yourself looking at the calendar then to the 3 years, or were you happy enough then after the 3 years to stay put?
Do you know, the first year or two was tough. I have to say now, Peter got sick that time and the kids were small, so I didn't really have family around me. Now, we met some very good friends. I have to say a huge amount of Irish, well, not a huge amount, I presume, like from Peter's plant in Longford, 5 other couples came after us.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped. But the first 2 years were small. I went home a lot.
Talking about your family, what was the reaction at first when you told them you were moving?
Oh, they were devastated. My parents were bad now, I have to say. Some of the new ones were bad as well now. Yeah, it was. And we did kind of warn them on and off, but even I was kind of shocked when we eventually done it.
Yeah.
Because we came out in January, they brought us out for a house hunting trip.
Yeah.
So you come out, find your house or the house that you'd like, which is hard done by around here, because renting around where we are now, it's tough.
Yeah.
So I actually left with no house after a week. So Peter was here. Peter was kind of here for 6 months before I moved.
Yeah.
So we actually ended up getting one of the houses we did see eventually. Right. And then they come and set it up for you and stuff like that. So when I actually arrived, and we were very lucky with the 2 kids, like we had the house, the cars were there, our Wi-Fi was on, everything.
Yeah, brilliant.
It was, it was very good. But
a lot different
my
to
parents,
single people moving over for the first time.
It is. We had a huge, our, experience was very different.
But that wasn't your first time to move in the States, sure wasn't?
I did. I done a JO1 1999, I think, or 2000. Yeah, and it's funny because you get your social with the J1 and all that, and you keep that. So when I came out, when we were going through all this again, they found me on the system somewhere. I was like, oh,
good job you went home.
I didn't know whether that was a good thing or a bad thing. I was like, oh, all right.
Did it take you long to settle in with schools and the community out there?
We came on July 2nd, so we started school on I think it's the same thing, the 3rd week in August. Now, we picked a Catholic school for the simple reason is out here, no religion are in schools, so you have to make a conscious thing for Sunday schools and things like that.
Right.
And we knew we wouldn't be as committed as what we should, so we picked the Catholic school.
Parish priest could be listening now, Sinead.
I know. I'm sorry. We try. Not very hard, but we try. So we picked a Catholic school for the kids. So she started in pre-K. You have to be 5. I think it's the same in Ireland now, isn't it? 5 by the 1st of September to start. Yeah, so she started in pre-K. And straight into it, 8:30 to 3:30.
Right.
Monday to Friday. And then Luke was in kind of a daycare up until he got to the age where he would be taken in.
You could find kids are very resilient to moving and all that, aren't they?
So our age was quite good. you know, at our age, you know, they kind of settled in. I know a lot have moved where the kids were in, you know, sixth class or first year or second, and it's tough on them for a while. The system can be very, you know, different. But I do find once they're in it, they will excel. But it takes, with kids, it takes a while.
Yeah. What
You
advice
know,
would you
it does
give,
take a
Sinead,
while.
to anyone thinking of doing the same as you did?
Oh, wow. Yeah, to do it.
Yeah.
It's definitely. I never thought I'd live outside of Clara. We have our family there, all our friends, all my friends. I don't know about Peter's. I don't know if there's
Peter have
there not
friends, he does.
many. I know that's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know if there's many there, but we had, you know, and it was just to do it. Like I remember someone actually said to me, you know what's here, go see what's there, and I was like, yeah, true. So
Yeah,
and
good.
we always knew that we could come home and if we wanted to.
Yeah.
I think Peter was on a different mindset. I think once Peter was leaving, he knew that we wouldn't.
Do you think
We
you'll ever
wouldn't be
come
coming
home,
back.
Sinead?
Do you know, we had this talk the other day. He has it all planned out. It was quite funny. Retirement and where we're going to have retiring to Clara wasn't on my agenda now. But anyway, I don't think I'm much of a choice.
Like you mentioned friends from Clara, but a lot of your friends from Clara are living in America as well.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How we kind of follow each other. It is. Now I don't. Obviously, now we don't get too far, but we've been to New York with the kids, without the kids, a few times. But I've often met people in Clara who are out here.
Right.
Like, I mean, like, so, you know, of Karen and stuff like that. We try and meet out here, but we've more of a chance of meeting at home for something.
Right.
Do you know,
I
things
believe
like that.
you have the kids there with you, Sinead.
I do. They have their little reminiscences of Clara and
Brilliant.
what they enjoy about it. It's
Okay,
quite
who are we
funny.
going to talk to first then?
You can have Katie May first now.
Okay.
So 1 second.
Hi.
Katie May, hello from Clara. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very good. Katie May, you don't have your strong Clara accent like your mammy.
No, I do not.
So Katie May, did you settled in fairly quickly into school and all that, did you?
Yeah. Like straight away when we got here, and I've been at the same school now for 8 years, 9 years.
So tell us some of the things you missed about moving from Clara.
I think just like everything really, like the atmosphere of it, I guess, like that kind of like small town vibe, like everybody kind of knows each other kind of thing.
Gossiping, you mean? You'd be gossiping. Everyone would be...
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You don't get that here. What else do I miss? I miss the accents. Accents here are kind of ugly. Just a little bit. And
So if you could pick a couple of things from Clara that you'd like to have right now, what would they be?
my family over here, baguettes, baguettes ice cream, and the chipper, definitely.
The chipper. Stuart's chipper. So your brother is there as well, Luke?
Yeah, he is.
Hello, can you hear me, Luke?
Yeah.
Good man, Luke. So what age are you, Luke?
Age about to turn 11.
It's nearly 11. Very good. So do you like it? Do you like your new home in Chicago, Luke?
I do.
What's the best part about it?
Probably because there's some parts of it I get to get away from my family.
I normally go to the bedroom to get away from my family. Where do you go to, Luke?
My bedroom.
As well. Do you play sports out there or anything, Luke?
Last year I played American football for the first time.
Very good. How did that go for you?
I barely survived the training, but I ended up doing it.
Good man. And what's school like for you? What class are you in, Luke?
I'm going into 5th grade.
So if you missed some things from Clara, what would they be, Luke?
Probably walking down to the chipper with my granddad and getting a bunch of food, like with the curry chips, and bringing them back.
Very good. Luke, thanks for talking to me. You can put your mammy back on. Great
That was all
stuff,
very
Sinead. Very good. So Sinead, they're telling me things you miss from Clara. So apart from your family, of course, what do you miss? Or what comes into your head first when you think of Clara?
I miss it. It's quite, easy going. The atmosphere. It's not it's not rush. I love going home. I love driving into Clara.
Yeah.
It's just like having people around all the time who know you, like you do miss that at the start. I have to say.
Yeah.
You miss, if something happens at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and you have to ring someone or call someone.
Yeah.
You have someone there. I have to say now, I love going into Mammy's house. I love going into Ann Newman's in the Green.
Yeah. Is there anybody you'd like to say hello to who might be listening now?
Oh, we're going to say hello to all the Duns and the Green and the Redmonds, all the Newmans, especially Anne, or the Moores. We forgot about the Moores. Orla's tree. Liam's getting his communion soon, which we were due to come home to, but obviously we can't.
Okay.
We're stuck here for another while, so I'd say it could be it could be next spring break, maybe, or next summer before we get back to Ireland. I'd imagine with the way things are going.
You'll have to send Luke up with the curry chips to me when he comes home.
He's upset. It's quite funny with curry chips.
Sinead, thanks
And
very
the
much
bread.
for having the chat with me today.
Oh, Lloyd, thanks for asking
Really
me.
appreciate
It was a pleasure, I have to
Great.
say. And it's great to see stuff been done and that in town.
Thanks a million. Best wishes to yourself and Peter, Katie May and Luke.
Oh, perfect. Thank you, Lloyd. Same to yours.
After my little stop off from Chicago, it's time to meet a man who knows this tune very well. Let's see who it is. Adam Tracy, what's the story?
Well, Lloyd, how are you keeping? How are you?
Good, Adam, thanks. Adam, whereabouts are you based in the States?
I'm down south towards Florida in South Carolina, Lloyd. So just above, between Georgia and North Carolina.
Right, so you must be used to the storms over there, Adam, are you?
We haven't been hit by any bad ones since we got here, but there was a few just before we arrived here 5 years ago that ripped the place apart. But I mean, we've been lucky where we are, but obviously Florida kind of gets hit a bit harder than anywhere else.
Yeah. You said you were there 5 years, Adam. Why the move? Yourself and your girlfriend?
Yeah, Kate, yeah. Originally it was just boredom, and then there was nothing really going on back home, and I was just doing a little bit of plastering here and there and DJing, and there was nothing really solid, and she didn't like what she was doing, and came over for her sister's wedding. Absolutely fell in love with the place and said, what do we have to lose? We can always come back to Clara if we need to.
Yeah.
But that was 5 years ago, and I think it was a great decision. It's a different world over here completely. Especially, I tried New York twice, but it wasn't for me. It's a different kettle of fish altogether. It's kind of a more easy going way of life down here, you know.
So, like, do you think a lot of people I've been talking on this to have that solace that they can come back at any time? You know, do you think that's kind of good to have?
For me, it was one of the most important things to have. Like, I'm able to go home now, but obviously I was lucky that me and Caitlin were together a good while and got all that stuff sorted. But for people up north, it's very, very tough. Like, obviously, you know, there's people up there 15, 20 years plus that can't even come home if anything goes wrong, God forbid. Obviously now kind of everyone's on the same boat, but lose a family member or a friend or something like that, you can't go back and see them, or anyone's sick, that kind of stuff. But it's that was very important to me to get that started.
Sadly for yourself, Adam, your granny passed away not so long ago.
That's right.
Condolences for that.
So we were. Yeah, oh, thank you, appreciate that, man. She was a lunatic. That's where we all got her sense of humour and everything from, and the swearing. It was all from Nanny. But
I've no bleep button here now in this.
What? No, don't worry. It'd be wore out if she was on it. But that was tough. Obviously, not being able to go back for that. But in fairness, Michael White and I think it was Alan Rex hooked up the live feed for me so I could watch it over here, which is fantastic, and I can't thank them enough for that. It definitely helped being able to see family members and that at it. But Caitlin's aunt, actually, Lisa Kane, she died yesterday.
Right, that's right.
So and then it's so Eileen, her mother is over here, and she couldn't even go back even when she wasn't doing well the last couple of weeks, obviously because she'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks, and then. By the time she did it, or even if she wants to go home now, she still can't go to the funeral, everything. So it's.
Adam, is there a support network out there? Like, is there a good Irish community there where you are?
Compared to New York or anything like that, no. But I would say one thing about it, there might be only 70 or 80 of us around here, but it's kind of a small town feel, and we'd be probably a lot more connected than the ones up north, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of more hustle bustle up north, where it's very work oriented, where that comes first. But down here, it's like we meet for football like twice a week and pints and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a close clique of people. And if you ever need anything,
very kind of a home from home, Adam, is it sort of feel?
It is, man. Especially the way of life. It's it's that friendly, down south, easy going kind of way of life. So I think that's why I kind of settled here a lot quicker than I did up in New York, even with more people I knew up there coming into it, because I knew nobody coming over here. So, I mean, I always even talked to Danny Price about it. He came down and he visited me here. He even looked around here when he was here with Kelly for a few nights, and he said, "Jez, this is a different way of living altogether," which it is. You know, it's like a little holiday all the time kind of thing if you make it that way.
What's your working life like there, Adam?
I'm working in an Irish pub here just down the road from the house we got, called Shawnee. So I started there. I started at Molly Darcy's when I first moved over, and that was one of the scarier parts of moving over here. With obviously Caitlin had the sisters and the family over here, so she had work lined up. But with me coming over, especially, you know what I mean, with no green card or anything like that, her work visa, I was very afraid I wouldn't get anything sorted. But it ended up, the day after I landed, I went into a pub called Molly Darcy's downtown. I met two Kerrymen behind the bar, and they said, "What do you want to do?" And I told them what I did for years, but I said I'd like to get into the bartending end of it. And he said, "All right, give me 5 minutes there." And he came out, and the owner, Tommy Snee, came out, and the manager was a Kerry girl as well. Tommy's from Meath, and she was from Kerry. And walked out and said, "Oh, blah, 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 what's your story?" And then he said, "You can come in for training on Tuesday." Brilliant. So that way, I wasn't even there 14 hours. I got lucky. But as I said, if I wasn't Irish or anything like that, it might have been a totally different story. So, you know what I mean? So I was lucky in that sense to have the community here. And then Caitlin ended up took her 2 or 3 months to get work after she was promised she'd be straight into work. So I was,
Caitlin is big into the Irish dancing out there, isn't she?
That's right. She has her own school out here now. That's right. She did real well back in. That's why she kind of first came to Ireland, was to compete at a higher level over there, and then she won the European Championship and the World Championships over there in Germany. So when she was teaching there in Rossford Bridge there for a while, but she's over there now. She's over here now. Yeah, she has her own school and everything over here. I think she has like 70 students now.
Fantastic.
So that's going very well.
Are you any good at the Irish dancing, Adam?
No, Jesus! She showed me some videos and I'm plastered. It's not.
Adam, has DJ Hoppy ever made an appearance over there in Shanachie?
He did actually. No, he did. Not at Shanachie. I think if they listened to the kind of music I did, I'd be fired in Shanachie. But
what about Pat Mustard? Has he made an appearance?
No, not yet. They wouldn't get it over here. I probably would have dressed up as him otherwise. But no, I can't.
Actually, if anyone has seen the picture on Facebook of all the people we're interviewing, you'll get what I'm talking about when I mentioned Pat Mustard.
That was one of my favourite times of the year, was to dress up as Step and all that kind of stuff. But that was probably one of the best one I ever did, and probably the easiest I ever did was that one.
A video went viral recently of yourself with your sister surprising you with a visit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Shannon, that's right. Was out with the Irish boys. Planned a big day out just for the Irish community over here, and about 20 of us hopped around Folly Beach over there. One of my friends of mine there, John Teven, he's from Meath as well. He owns an Irish pub over on the beach there. I think it was about 13 hours in at that stage. So lovely. When I seen her, even when she took the beard off, I didn't know who it was. And the fact it was Christmas, and I usually come home for Christmas. It was a huge deal for me, and I very rarely get emotional. But that was great. She planned it fantastically, and I had no clue at all. That made my week.
Brilliant. Are there times, Adam, that you get homesick now, or are you so used to being there now?
Big sessions now. Any bank holidays, stuff like that. Christmas, if I'm not there, is a huge one. But
Shane Lowry homecoming, I think you were going to sell your liver to go home.
Oh, that was the closest I've ever come to getting into a plane and leaving this country forever. And I didn't care if I'd ever get back. I think me and Danny Casey were nearly trying to tell each other that it's okay, do you know what I mean? Because the two of us, we were looking at flights till 4 a.m. on the phone to each other, saying, "Sure, if we go home tomorrow, we'll still get the Monday. If we go home tomorrow, we'll still get the Tuesday." And if we knew how big the Tuesday was going to be, we would have went.
Yeah.
But we were just thinking, sure, after the Monday, it'll be calmed down and everyone will be back to work. And then we were like, oh God, yeah, we were for feck's sake, why the hell did we not go over? But that was tough to watch, but something else to see.
Yeah, Adam, being down south, really. Has COVID-19 affected the area much?
Oh, it's brutal down here. I mean, more so than anywhere right now. They're just not taking it very serious at all, man. And they were just rushing. They really just wanted. People being selfish, wanting stuff back open quick as possible. So I think we opened back up the bar in first week of May. It spiked. It was spiked like crazy after that, and then you had Memorial Day, and then you had 4th of July, and then all those big holidays and having the beaches open and everything like that. It was just nuts. 2,500 cases a day just in around this area.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's out there, new cases. So it was like 80 new deaths a day. And I think Florida were like 6,000 cases a day.
Unbelievable.
And it was just insane.
Adam, last couple of things. Is there anything that when you maybe having a drink or that, or reminiscing about Clara that you miss, apart from your family, of course? Is there anything that stands out to you?
It's a little different here, and I notice it. I think even on a Saturday or Sunday night, especially, you always end up somewhere if everyone's in great form, or even just been kept there late in a pub. That kind of stuff doesn't exist over here. You know what I mean? The lock-in or something like that. If there's a group of people there, or the owners there, like in Whites or in Baggots or something like that, and you have a couple of people hanging around, and you have a few late ones, and the banter keeps going on. But stuff like that, and the music scene. Yeah. It's very different here, and obviously I used to enjoy Joe and Nigel there in Whites, but the Chinese over there, you can't get a decent Chinese here. It's absolutely killing me. And
I wonder would Ben Wu open a franchise down in Florida?
I tell you one thing. I actually had to, when I went home the last time, I had to ask him for the spice bag mix because I couldn't get. It was taking me about 4 days to get over a hangover over here compared to a few hours at home. Yeah, so that's a big one. That and Supermax maybe.
Adam, lastly, then, is there anyone you'd like to say hello to that might be listening?
No, just all the family. Obviously I got to talk to them with the grandmother and all that kind of stuff. But I'd like to just give my condolences to the Kane family and with Lisa. And hopefully I can, if all this is past, I can see everyone over at Christmas. Hopefully, if it all dims down. And I'd like to say thanks to you as well. You're doing a great job, Lloyd, with this. It definitely helps.
Thanks, Adam.
Having one of these every week. It makes it a little bit easier being able to laugh and listen to people's stories from home.
Brilliant. That's nice to hear. Adam Tracy, thanks very much for joining us from down south.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Florida.
Absolutely. Thank you, bud.
The little town of Clara, I'm longing for.
Great chat with Adam Tracy there. It just shows the importance of a good community around you when you need it most. Next up is another Clara girl. So Kate Tierney, what's the story?
Hey Lloyd, how's it going?
I'm very good. Kate, tell everyone what part of the States you're in.
I live in Long Island, Southampton, New York, where all the rich people live.
Are you one of those rich people, Kate?
I'm not one of them, but I'm still trying to make my first million, Lloyd.
Very good. So and for anyone who mightn't know, what part of Clara did you come from?
Kilcorsie, Clara.
And did you live there before, Kate, in the States?
We did, yeah. Me and John were both born in the States. We were born in Queens. Daddy was in America for 28 years. And I think Mommy was here for maybe 10 or more. And she had the two of us here. And then they moved back to Clara when I was 7, John was 5. So we're both American citizens, yeah. Right.
So, other people have been talking to have emigrated to the States, but you've kind of done both, really. You've came back and then went back. How was that coming back first?
It was okay. John left first. John got a soccer scholarship. He was going to college in Dublin, and then he got a soccer scholarship, and he went to Virginia. So he went off. And then I think about 2 years later, then I decided I wanted to try it. And, Mommy was not a bit upset when I left. Or she was like, let her go, she said, because she'll never stay. I worked in Dublin for 5 years. I went home every weekend to Clara. I never missed a weekend. So when I left, she didn't care. When John left, she cried for weeks.
It's always the way with Mammy's boys, isn't it?
Mammy's boys, Mammy's sunshine, exactly.
So, so you're there. How long are you there now, Kate?
26 years.
Wow. And do you get to come home often, or?
Oh, I try to go home every year, at least every year. Mammy comes over a lot to us as well. She normally, would be here at the moment with us, but with everything that's going on, she can't. But I try to get home every year. I think the longest I've not gone home is 2 years.
Yeah. So what's the COVID situation like in the Hamptons?
It's terrible, Lloyd. It's really bad. At the moment, our hospital is clear. There's no cases in the hospital, but I'm an EMT volunteer, and there's just, it's in the community, but I don't think it's bad enough cases that they're in the hospital. So fingers crossed. Yeah. It just sucks. It all just, we can't go anywhere. We can't go home, or that's the only thing that worries me, that if God forbid something happened.
I know.
At home, and then you can't get home. That just kill me altogether, but...
There's a good Irish and good Clara support there in the Hamptons, isn't there?
There is. There used to be a lot more. We used to have loads more. Like Elaine was here, and Marguerite and John, and Dorothy and Mel, Liz and Roger. But they're so we still have Nicola, Newman and John are here.
Hazel, of course.
Oh, Hazel, Jesus, how can I forget Hazel? Hazel, yeah, I forgot poor Hazel. Yeah, so there's still a few of us left, but it's great. At least, it's great to have them here
So,
with
like,
you. You know what I mean?
has things changed much in the Hamptons, say, from 20 years ago when it was kind of seen as a party capital out there at Buckley's and all that? Is it a bit more mellow now?
It's a little bit more mellow now, but now it's changed through the years because, well, obviously we've all grown up, so we're not partying the way we used to.
You're not in the Bordy barn or anything anymore.
No, oh God, no. Didn't even open this summer. But no, it has a little bit. But now you have a lot of city people have just all moved out here since this COVID all happened. Yeah. So it's busy.
Yeah.
It's busy with newcomers, you could say that, but it's kind of the same. I mean, it's the Hamptons is like, it's all the city. Usually in the summertime is our busiest time, and it's the city people coming out, getting their hair done, going to parties and all that. They're still coming out, but now they're staying.
Right. What's working life like there for you, Kate? I know you said you're volunteering for the EMT.
Yeah, well, I'm a hairdresser. I'm working in the same salon. I've been there 25 years working with them. Jeez. And then, yeah, I love it. They're like family now more than anything else. Yeah. And the EMT is volunteer. I do that every week. I'm on call and I love that. I always kind of wanted to do nursing. I never did, but
so tell us a bit more about that. So you can get a call anytime, Kate, then, can you?
Yeah, Monday night's my call night, so I'm on call from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So you could be up and down 10 times or you could be up and out once, Yeah. The kids think I'm like superwoman when I get a call.
Brilliant.
The pager goes off, the beeper goes off, and off I go with my green light in the car.
So tell us about your kids then. Do they like coming back home to Mammy's home?
Oh, they love to go home to Nana's. They love to go to Clara. Yeah, I think they're getting a bit older now and their cousins over there are all a little bit older, but they still love to go home.
Yeah. Do you ever think you'd come back here full time, Kate?
I used to, Lloyd. I really did. I always thought I did. As long as Mammy's there, I'll always go home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have, my cousins and I still have great friends there, but I don't know. As long as my kids are here, I'll be here. Yeah. I'll always be where they are.
Do you still keep a conscious eye on the Clara news now and then?
I try to, yeah. I try to keep up with it. And these podcasts are brilliant because you feel like you're just sitting at home. It's the best. I love it.
That's good. Yeah, we're trying to bring some of you to the people of Clara rather than the other way around this week. So something a bit different.
I know, it's lovely.
Apart from your family, like what memories do you have of Clara? What's the first thing that comes into your head when you say, okay, I'm going to go home? What do you do first,
Go to the chipper.
Everyone says that.
The chipper is the first stop when we get home. But no, Brilliant. Lloyd, I just love to go home and just be home. Just be at home, be with Mammy and, just the cousins. And, we've such a big family. It's just, if I never went outside the door and just spent time with everybody, it's great. Yeah. But it's great memories. We the kids today don't appreciate growing up the way we did. Like these, kids today have cell phones and their faces are always stuck in phones. Like we didn't have any of that. Like if I wanted to get in touch with Sinead Handy, say, I'd have to ride the bike up to the house to ask her, does she want to hang out in the afternoon? And then I'd have to ride home again. And then back up to her house to hang out in the afternoon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
They don't get that.
No, it's long gone, that sort of life, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's very sad. It's really sad. And it's only, technology is great. Don't get me wrong. I FaceTime Mammy every day.
Do you?
And I do, yeah, and I love it. And so, it has great advantages and disadvantages.
Because I remember years ago, I know when Ivan was there and Susan, there was a weekly call maybe on a Saturday night and you might spend an hour and everybody be trying to talk, but now it's just so easy now.
Oh yeah, we used to sit down and write letters. When is the last time anybody wrote a letter?
Right. Barry Kelly was telling me that he used to write letters home to Pa Maher and guys.
Yeah, I remember one time writing a letter to Sinead and some of the girls, and I wrote one letter and I photocopied it because there was a few of them. Mad with
That's
me.
Cheating now, Kate. That's cheating.
That was cheating. They were disgusted. Like, don't photocopy a personal letter.
So what's the story there? Will Joe Biden be the next president?
Oh, Lord God, I don't know. I don't know. The poor man, he gets such abuse and he's, everyone says he's starting with Alzheimer's. Do you really want somebody who's starting with I just don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I said if Kanye West runs for president, then I'm fucking moving home to Ireland. For sure.
That mightn't be too far away, Kate.
I'm telling you, but then I'll be.
Your ma will be delighted.
I know, yeah.
Would your ma ever move out there, do you think?
No, at the moment. No, we've asked her. She loves her house and she loves her home. She loves Clara. So, and she's still, she's still, thank God, able to travel back and forth.
Yeah.
Maybe eventually she may come over and, split time between me and John, or I don't know. We've asked her. We're working on her.
Yeah. Do you live far away from John over there?
Yeah, John's in Virginia. He's about it's about a 7-hour drive from here.
Right.
Yeah, he was just here a couple of weeks ago, him and Adele and the boys.
You wouldn't do that on the bike, Kate, would you?
You would not do it on the bike, no. That's for sure.
Okay, is there anyone you'd like to say hi to, anyone back here that'll be listening?
Oh my God, everybody and anybody. Oh God, I can't just pinpoint one person. We miss Elaine. Elaine's at home now, and we really miss her a lot. So I know, Vinny, if you're listening, I love you and I miss you. But I miss everybody. So hello to everybody in Clara.
Okay, thanks very much for joining us on the podcast. It's been a lot of fun.
No, absolutely, Lloyd. And thanks so much. It really brings a lot of joy to us over here listening to the stories from home. Take care and be safe in Clara, okay?
Well, if there's one piece of music that suits any guest, it's my next guest. Trevor Kelly, what's the story?
Well, Lloyd, how's it going? How are you doing?
Not too bad, Trevor. We're ringing you from a wet and windy Ireland, but there's nothing new about that.
No, not a thing. Wet and windy here too, but it's either too warm or too cold, you know yourself.
Trevor, tell everybody where you are in the States.
I'm in a town called Ossining, New York. It's about an hour north of New York City. It's about 25 minutes north of Yonkers, where a lot of Clara and Offaly people live, and I'm sure most people have been there.
Right, and when you left Clara, where did you leave from, Trevor?
I left from Kilbride Road, and I went to Yonkers, New York, to a house, 100 Hyatt Avenue, where I lived with the late, great Joe McDonald and Brendan Moran.
Right, very good.
The boys looked after me great.
Great, and nice to have the friendship when you get over there straight away, wasn't it?
None better. Joe and Brendan looked after me like I was a little brother / son. They took great care of me.
Brilliant, nice to hear that. Trevor, why did you move abroad then?
I don't know. I mean, no one ever leaves home with the intention of not going back. I certainly didn't. I come out here March 20th, 2002, and I thought I'd be home for Christmas, you know?
Yeah.
I very nearly was home for Christmas, only I was offered a job behind the bar in a place called the Hibernian, and actually started Christmas Day there, so...
Right.
It took the homesickness off me.
That'd take the homesickness fairly quick, working on Christmas Day, wouldn't it?
Oh Lord, yeah, it was unheard of, but you know, it was the way it was. Every bar is open Christmas Day, basically, you know.
Yeah. And did you take you long to settle in then, apart from finding work on Christmas Day?
I mean, there was such at the time, it's still good, but at the time there was so many Clara people here and Offaly people, and you know, we had a hurling team, we had 2 football teams. There was there's a bar called JP Clark's. I think you might have been in it.
Yeah.
You know, you go down there right now, you'll meet someone from Clara or Offaly. So it wasn't too bad now, to be honest. And there was always people coming out as well.
Like a lot of people go out there starting construction. Did you have a start like that, Trevor?
I did for the first 9 months. Actually, another Offaly man, a roadman, got me a job. Pat Levy. I was only here a day or two, and he got me a job at Unpower Construction down in the city in Manhattan, and worked away with them. Yeah.
Very good. Like you said, you worked in a bar, but you had your own bar then, Trevor. Tell us about that.
I had my own bar in Gramercy Park there, Gramercy Ale House, for 3 or 4 years. It was a great time. I really enjoyed it, but I have a son now. He's 3.5. I was glad to get out of the bar and sell it when I did, because you're working long hours, you're putting in long hours, and, you know, basically, I rarely seen my wife or son, you know.
Right, okay. Your little son there is called after your grandfather.
He is, yeah. John Christopher Kelly is his name, same as my grandfather's, yeah.
Brilliant. So he's obviously born and bred in the States. He won't know.
Oh yeah.
He won't know much about Chapel Hill or Kilbride, unless you'll probably tell him.
No, well, hopefully he will. You know, we'll try and get him back there. He's never been back yet, so with all that's going on now, but we'll definitely try and get him back. Hopefully next summer things settle down. You know. Yeah.
Just going back to the bar work for a second, Trevor. You had some famous guests in Gramercy.
Over the years I did, yeah. Some people, I recognised some of them and others I didn't, you know.
Who did you not recognise, Trevor?
I can't remember his name now. I know Justin Bieber came in one night, and I mistakenly didn't know who he was. I asked him for ID anyways. He's very young looking, but he gave me the ID anyways, and there was a few blushes then, but yeah, he was very nice about it. He laughed at it, actually.
I seen that on some of the papers back here, Trevor.
Oh, I think it was on 6 or 7 papers, and I got a phone call as well from RT Radio. wanting me to talk about it, and I thought it was one of the boys messing, so I just hung up the phone. But it actually was RT Radio.
You gave us the exclusive here in Raheen.
Oh, I did, yeah, that's it. I would never hang up on you.
Trevor, is it all work and no play out there, or do you get time? I suppose now with the bar gone, you get time to socialise a bit more.
You do now. It's with the whole COVID thing, I was off work for 3 or 4 months. March 15th, 16th, we closed down in the city, right before St. Patrick's Day, which is the biggest day of the year. We shut down, and I was home for 3 or 4 months then. I only went back to work then. I work in an outside bar now, so it's not so bad. The restrictions aren't as bad.
Is that a new thing, Trevor, an outside bar?
No, I work in a place in Tarrytown, Barley and the Hudson. It's right on the waterfront, so it's all outside seating.
Right.
It's on the river. And, so that's great, but that's seasonal. That'll be in October, November, that'll shut down,
Yeah. There's not too many Clara people where you are at the moment, Trevor, would that be the case?
Oh, God, no. But say, for the town I live in, I wouldn't say there's too many Irish people even, let alone Clara,
Right. Your wife is American, Trevor, is she?
Yeah, American born, yeah.
Fantastic.
American born, White Plains, New York.
Do Americans get the Irish humour, Trevor?
Sometimes, it depends. Depends what kind of mood they're in.
Trevor, you're a big GAA fan. I know by your Facebook post, you're passionate about that. Tell us about that.
Oh, I would be. Sure, I love Offaly and Clara. It's great, the old GAA. It brings people together, and I think it's great for young people. It doesn't matter if it's GAA actually or soccer or anything, rugby. It's great for young people to be involved in sports. It keeps them on the right path.
Yeah. Who's your favourite Offaly hurler down through the years?
Everyone would go with Brian Whelan, I suppose. I'd be a big fan of Michael Dignan too. I think, he was a fantastic hurler, great footballer, and, I think he's a great chairman for the county board. I think he'll bring Offaly where they need to be in the next few years.
Brilliant. Trevor, you have some family over there. Your uncle Robert is there, isn't he?
Robert is there, yeah. He's down in Yonkers. He works in that bar, JP Clark's I was telling you about there.
Right.
He works down there. He's been out here now for probably 10 years, maybe more, even 10, 12, 13 years.
And back home then, your grandmother and all that is back here? Do you talk much?
Yeah, Granny's doing well. I was chatting her yesterday there. She's in great old form.
Will you ever move back, Trevor?
I never say never, I wouldn't think so. My wife is American born, and, the little boy is out here and in school and all that. It'd be if I was to go, I'd want to go now, you know what I mean? It'd be a serious culture shock to bring him when he's older,
Yeah. And Trevor,
and plus, he'd be straight back when he realises his passport is blue and not purple. He'd be 18, he'd be going out the door.
That's a fact, yeah. When you think at Clara now, say you're having a beer or that in the bar, what do you think about Clara, apart from family and that?
I'd miss the GAA, to be honest with you. I'd miss the GAA, going to the matches and on a nice summer's evening or that, Well, of course, nobody at home can go now, but unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I'd miss that, going to Croke Park. We grew up in great times at Offaly, footballers and hurlers. I remember, I think, Eamon O'Keefe telling me he played with Offaly minors in Croke Park, and that would have been maybe the 7th Sunday in a row he was in Croke Park.
Right, yeah.
Unheard of, like.
They might come back again, Trevor, will they?
I think so. They're going in the right direction anyways. So hopefully, please God.
Trevor, is there anyone you'd like to say hello to that might be listening?
I'd like to say hello to my granny, and he was in the green, I'm sure Sharon, say hello to Sharon and Nicola as well. I'm sure Sharon will play this for her. So, and I'd also like to say something to you. I'd like to thank you for this podcast. I think it's amazing. Thanks, I had
Trevor.
Derek Handy in the bar with his father a couple of years ago, and we had a great chat.
Yeah.
And Derek said, all the characters in Clara, somebody should record them and immortalise them, basically,
Yeah.
Which is what you've done, it's fantastic.
Thanks, Trevor. Appreciate that.
And also, I'd like to start a petition for Danny Rabbit Part 2. I think it'd be a great season finale.
Jeez, my father won't be happy with that, Trevor.
Well, you can bring him in too. He can interview Danny.
But definitely could be a Danny Part 3 and a Part 4, probably.
Oh, there you go.
Trevor, thanks very much for joining us. And I suppose I want to say to you that a lot of people, Clara people go out there, you're very kind to them, very courteous and showing them the way. I know the last time I was in America was 2011 on our honeymoon. Still married, by the way.
Right.
And we went straight down to the perfect pint, and it was brilliant. You made us feel at home.
That's good.
Great,
That's good.
So thanks for joining us, Trevor. Thanks for the chat. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me, Lloyd, and best of luck with everything, okay?
Last but not least on the podcast is another Clara girl. Tammy Dunnigan, what's the story?
Lloyd, good morning.
What time is it there, Tammy? It's what is it? Near 1 o'clock here.
It's 10 to 8 in the
Oh
morning here,
God,
Lloyd.
we
So
got
you
you
got
up
me up
early.
early. Mm.
You're away for a few days, I seen, were you?
We were. We went to New Jersey, Crystal Springs. It was our second trip, after quarantined.
To get
So we
out.
try and find somewhere to go, bring Jamie to get out with as many restrictions as possible.
I know. So, Tammy, tell everyone, whereabouts are you there in America?
I'm actually in Blue Point, Long Island, which is about, well, depending on traffic, it's about an hour from the city.
Nice part of the world there.
It's lovely. We're by the water. My husband, Tom, now grew up on the water on Long Island, so we're only a couple of blocks from the water.
Very good. How long have you been in America in total, Tammy?
22 years.
Right.
No, 21, sorry. I came over in 98, in July 98, just for the 3 months, to Olive and Goosh and Trisha and Karen and Peter.
Yeah.
And I ended up meeting a woman, was introduced to a woman, and she was looking for a nanny.
Right.
So I worked with her for that summer for a few weeks, and then went back home to Ireland in October. And then that February, which was 99, I think, she kept saying to me if I wanted to go back to work for her, she'd take me back. So I did.
Brilliant. And
I did 9.5 years with her.
Fantastic. And the people you spoke about are back home now.
Everybody's back home except Trisha. But Trisha and Declan still have a house here in Babylon, so they travel back and forth to.
Will you ever come back, Tammy, do you think?
A couple of years ago, I really thought about it, and I still think about it. I him and haw, which is the best thing. And now, of course, when you can't go home, when you're stuck here, then you feel like you want to go home more.
Yeah, a lot of people said that, yeah. And I suppose now it's so easy to communicate now with WhatsApp and Viber and Messenger like we're on now.
Yeah, I'd be lost without Viber. I'm in a group text with all the family, and that's a great way to communicate. But when you can't, I usually go home every summer with Jamie, and we spend at least a month at home. So this year was tough, not being able to go home.
I can imagine so, yeah. Is there a big Clara community where you are?
No, there's just me.
You're flying the flag.
When I first came, I lived in Manhattan, and I would go up to Yonkers a lot with Emer Keenan at the time and Barry Kelly.
Yeah.
And it was lovely because you felt like you were back at home. But
yeah, there's that bit of support there, isn't there? Of anything.
Yeah. And when you went to the pub on a Friday or Saturday night up in JP Clark, sure, you might as well have been in Whites or.
Yeah. So like you have your own family there now, your husband Tom and your son Jamie.
Yeah, that's it. Just
two American guys and one girl from
Clara. Yeah. I do tell Jamie he's half Irish, but he says he's fully American.
Does he like Clara when he comes over?
He does. He loves it. He loves the freedom and the cousins. He's a lot more cousins his age. Over here, Tom's the youngest of 7, so his family's, they're all older. The kids are all older, so he doesn't really have any cousins here that are his age or.
So just tell people about your family back home here, and where did you move from?
I was actually born in London. My mammy and daddy, Lenny and Joe, moved to England. Back then, lots of people emigrated for work. Myself and Trevor were actually born in England, and I was born in 71, and then we moved back to Ireland in 74. And we lived up in Strahans, up in the new road, the thatched house with the toilet outside.
Very good. That was a bit of a rude awakening, was it?
It was, but actually it was great memories up there. Yeah. And then when Beachmount was built, we lived in number 10 for years, and then Mammy and Daddy built up in Ahmore.
Brilliant.
So just Trevor's in Tullamore, and Debbie and Jemima are still in Clara.
Like, what did your family say when you told them you were immigrating? Was it probably not new to them after coming back from England and that, or did they mind too much?
They did a little at the beginning, but then when they met the family I was working for, they actually were very happy.
Yeah.
But the family I was working for were like family, so they saw the situation, they saw where I was living, and that kind of put their mind at ease then.
So what's your working life like now, Tammy? Or?
Not working at the moment because of COVID, and so I'm at home with Jamie. Because there was no school and then there was no camps. And usually Debbie comes over to visit me every summer to do some babysitting while I work. And this year, of course, she couldn't come over.
Yeah, it's strange times, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely different. Trevor was supposed to come this year and Jemima, and that was all put aside.
So what are
And
some
I have Jamie here now. If
Yeah,
you
Jamie
might
there.
want to say hello to Nanny
that'd
and
be
Grandad.
great. Yeah, put Jamie on.
Hold on.
Hello.
Hello, Jamie. How are you?
Good.
Hello from Ireland. I live very near your granny's house. Would you like to say hello to any of them?
Yeah. Hi, Nanny. Hi, Granddad. Hope you're doing well.
Brilliant. What age are you, Jamie?
I am 10, turning 11 in 3 months.
Very good. I'm turning 40 this week, so you have a bit to catch up on me, yeah. What's it like? You're off from school a while, Jamie, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to see a movie with my whole class, like at the back of fire department across from the school. We're going to watch a movie.
Fantastic. So you get to see all your friends again.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Are you looking forward to going back to school?
I'm going into middle school, so I'm not going to be in the same school. And there's 2 separate teams. One's blue and gold because that's our school colors.
Brilliant. So best of luck to you, Jamie, in your new school. And your granny and granddad will be delighted to say hello to them. Okay. Thanks, Jamie.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
No.
Good man. That's very important. Nearly 11, he said. Yeah.
They always have to add that in there.
I'm nearly 40, but I leave out the nearly. I'm still 39.
But when you get to my age, you don't even like to say it.
So tell me, like, when you think of Clara, apart from your family, what's some of the things you miss when you think of the town?
The one thing I really do miss, and I always say to people here, is not having to schedule to go to visit somebody. Like I could be walking from Mammy's downtown or from Mammy's over to Debbie's, and if I meet Anna arriving, to bring you in for a cup of tea and a chat.
Yeah.
You know, those sorts of things. I could end up, when I go home and go for a walk, I could end up having 3 cups of tea because I'd be brought into 3 different houses, you know.
I know, yeah. It's hard to get home.
And I miss the friends and family, of course.
So, like, if there was someone heading out there today, like you did so many years ago, what advice would you give them?
Oh, it's just different now. It's definitely a little harder, I think, to come out here with the circumstances, but also with the restrictions with Trump, and it's a little harder, I think. Now, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I would say if you have friends or family to reach out to before you come out and somewhere to stay when you first get here, whether it's a friend or a family from back home. Yeah, I definitely did the J1. Give it a go, see how you like it. But if you have family or friends around you, or even if they're not family or friends, they're just somebody from home that maybe, you know, I get sometimes like somebody will say their son is coming, but they were my age, you know, and their son might be coming over. Then I would say, you know, tell them to come to me or tell them to reach out to me when they're here.
Yeah, very good. Very important to have that when you go out to somebody.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So, Tammy, is there anyone you'd like to say hello to back here?
Oh, of course, Mammy and Daddy and Debbie and Trevor and Jemima and all the family, all the friends. Very sad not being home this year, but, you know, we'll have a bigger celebration. Hopefully Christmas, but that's not even looking good. We'll have to keep the faith.
Tammy Donegan, now hand, of course. So thank you very much for joining us on the podcast.
Oh, thank you very much, Lloyd. And just, Lloyd, I have to say thanks a million for doing the podcast because, like I said before, not being able to go home this year and just being able to hear all the voices and the stories and brings back all the memories. Just gets you through, you know, the times like this. So keep it up. And I'm sure you have plenty lined up.
Oh, I'll be very welcome. Hope to see you at Christmas. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Lloyd. Bye.
That's it, everyone. Really hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. Don't forget you can check out all the social channels and all that sort of stuff and get the older podcast as well. We'll see you next week. Thanks a million.
This podcast is brought to you by the Middlebaron restaurant Clara. Frank, Gillian and staff would like to thank you for the continued support. Food served 12 to 8 weekdays and 12 to 6 on Sundays. We look forward to seeing you all back at the Middlebaron restaurant very soon.
You just listened to What's the Story with Lloyd Bracken. Check out all our social channels for info on new episodes. Oh, and thanks for listening. On the Town.